being okay that it's probably not going to look like how you planned. It would be a completely different life. That's not the life that's for me. Like, it's completely different than I thought it was going to be, and that's okay. And I think letting go of like the expectations and just being like, whatever is meant for me is going to happen for me in whatever way that's going to look like. And it's scary because we all want to control, understanding that the good things, the bad things, they all are going to work out in the end in the best way, if that makes sense. It might not be what you think you want, but it's usually what you need.
Today's guest is Taylor Kiser of Culture Craving Couple. Caleb and Taylor are a 30-something couple who have been married for 11 years and have been to nearly 40 countries together. They specialize in traveling Europe and the USA, especially for other couples who want unique experiences and awesome food and drinks without going to clubs. They want to help you take all the amazing experiences from countries that you travel to while also giving back and leaving the place better than you found it. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm really excited for this conversation because I think you've done a little bit more traveling than I have.
Quite a job.
After reading that, what is one of the most courageous things that you have done?
Well, I think it's related to that. So before we started this whole, I guess, travel blog mission to help other couples travel, we lived, the normal, we're in America, the American dream, working 9 to 5, had a house, dogs, not a white picket fence, but, basically that. We had a really successful medical spa business. And I mean, life was really easy. And then I won't spoil spoil a later interview, but we went on this trip that changed our life and we realized like we weren't truly living. We were just kind of existing, and it was just kind of like the thing that everyone else does. So we basically we didn't sell our house. We turned it into an Airbnb. We closed down our brick and mortar business. Caleb quit his job. We started this travel blog, and we basically blew up our life like overnight just because of this like one thing that we realized that we're not getting any younger. And we realized that we were really, no one is. And we realized we really need to chase our dreams and chase a life that we wanted. So that's pretty courageous to give up a very cushy, I should say, lifestyle for something that is definitely not that way.
Absolutely, the unknown. Really courageous.
Scary, but fun.
So what actually took you on your journey of like traveling the world then, Taylor?
So it started with like I said, that one trip. So it was in 2020, which was, the year we shall not name. And we went into Europe, and it was the first time we'd ever been in Europe. Caleb's a doctor, and he had just graduated medical school. And it was always our plan to take this backpacking adventure through Europe because we didn't know when we were ever going to get another time after he finished school, before starting the next job. And then the big C hit, and we didn't know how that was going to happen. So long story short, we kind of snuck into Europe, and we were able to spend 3 months there with no tourists, and it was amazing. And that trip and just like seeing different cultures and how other people live. And I know you're in the UK. I'm not sure things are a bit different. They're not too well traveled in the UK. I've been a little bit like London, but especially in Europe, we really found people really work to live, and in the States, we live to work. And we just really realized that we are missing out on so much of life and experiences and like all these cool things. And that trip, like honestly, we haven't been the same since that trip. We're like, we need to not be in the States, and we need to actually live and not just work and play sometimes. So that trip really inspired us to do this, and we want other people to have the same, especially couples, to have the same experience, because it really also brought us closer as a couple, which is those memories and those unique experiences that we share together.
Yeah, I can imagine it has. So what makes your traveling unique then?
So definitely because we're foodies, which who isn't these days, but we really seek out those unique local spots and the hidden gems of places. Like, yes, we go and do the touristy things because they're touristy for a reason. You got to do them. But one thing that's really unique about us is we really try to, I don't want to say source because that sounds like a weird word, but we do try to find locals. We'll go into Facebook groups before we travel, for those cities and say, who's a local here? Like, can you come around with us and show us where you actually eat, what you actually do, and not just do like the tourist path that you can find on any blog or Google, because we want to have that authentic experience and experience the culture and share that with others.
Yeah, I love that. Really love that. Best way through
Yeah,
the locals.
we've had the best meals on the hole in the wall place that's not on Google, but like this
Yeah.
person showed you, you know.
So dare I ask you, what's your favorite destination if you can pick one?
It's tough, but it is pretty easy for us. Spain and specifically Madrid. We have been
Oh,
there so many
wow.
times. Just the culture and the food and the wine and the
Mm,
people and the weather. It's amazing.
it's amazing. So what upcoming trips or projects are you most excited about, and what
Cool.
can your followers look forward to?
Well, we're starting a YouTube channel, so that will be out this summer. So that is a
Oh.
lot of work and something we've never done. So that is going to be really exciting, and that will focus mostly on Europe, but a little bit of the US, just because we
Hmm.
flip-flop between the two. So that's exciting to follow along. And then we're in the States right now at the time of recording, and we will be traveling throughout Europe for September, October, November, and December.
Hmm.
So people can follow along on the YouTube channel, on our Instagram, Facebook, and just be sharing those kind of local hidden gem tips and tricks and all those things coming up for the rest of the year.
Wow, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Yes, I can't wait to have a look and see. It's like having YouTube there. It just makes so much easier because we get a direct insight of what's going on.
Yes, and we find it so much easier to tell like the stories of the locals and the people and
Mhm.
through, a video as opposed to just like a picture on Instagram or something like that, which we really want to tell the stories of the cities, not just, best things to do.
Absolutely. Where do you see the culture craving couple brand in the next 5 years?
So I think what we'd love to do is we really want to make it, like I said, a community specifically for couples because we think that is kind of an underserved. There's like a lot of
Mhm.
like solo female or like backpacking in your 20s or like, but nothing for like, maybe couples who are in their 30s or 40s or 50s and like don't want to do that scene anymore. So we really want to have a community and we're really, thinking about leading kind of group trips for other couples who really want to
Wow.
have unique experiences and food. So come along, we'll do all the planning. You basically just need to come and we'll do it all for you. And we think it could just be really fun to meet other like-minded people. And then we also sort of have this idea of bringing kind of a missions aspect to our travel. We're Christians, and Caleb grew up in Nepal as a missionary kid. And
Mm.
so we have a heart to kind of, like you said in the intro, show people how they can take from a country, like take the best food experiences,
Mm.
whatever. But like give back. Also, maybe spend a day at a local nonprofit or something like that and leave that place better than you found it. So we're trying to figure out how we can bridge that gap and maybe include those in our trips as well, kind of a two-sided travel experience, if you will.
Yeah. And I must say, one of my favorite foods are Nepalese food.
Oh, so good. It's so good. And you have such great. Are you in London or I know you're in the UK?
An hour away from London. Yeah.
Okay, we have
Yeah.
some good Nepalese food there. It's not
Yeah.
very much in this.
Yeah. It's absolutely my favorite. Yes.
It's amazing.
How do you ensure that your content respects and accurately represents the cultures you're exploring?
So when it comes back to like that sourcing of the locals, that's
Mhm.
something a lot of people, travel bloggers, don't do. We don't just look at other websites that tell us what to do. We truly try to get to know the people and meet them, take them around with us, really
Mm.
like understand places they go, what they do, even just talking to them about like what are the struggles that people in this area have, because I think tourists don't really care. It's kind of just like, how can I go and have fun and leave,
Mm.
And that's kind of going back to the leaving the place better than you found it, which is also kind of that mission aspect that we have. We're trying to connect with, nonprofits or charities in that city and really understand the culture and what those people are struggling with, how we can help, how we can give back. So that's kind of one piece. And then
Mhm.
I mean, just doing our research, not even just like, not just using Google, but going to city specific websites, talking to
Mm.
people at the tourism boards, like, because these people, know more than even a travel blogger, because a lot of travel bloggers go and they do the 10 best things to do in Rome, like that everybody else does, and they don't really know like what's
Mm.
going on underneath. So we really do a
Mm.
lot of research and talk to people and use boards and use all the resources that we can, which takes a lot of time, but it does make us more aware of these things and have a lot more authentic experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a burning question: can you speak many languages?
Gosh, this is so embarrassing. I'm American, so no, I only speak English. I feel like it's so embarrassing. We're like, wow, we look so touristy. We are working on Spanish. I know
Mhm.
I know enough Spanish to travel, but like
Okay.
I can't converse. And we're also working on Portuguese because we're working on some Portuguese citizenship. So we have to learn it for that.
Yeah, but that's brilliant. You're getting there.
We're
I
getting
mean,
there. We're trying. But I
yeah,
feel like whenever we go to Europe, they're like, we speak 10 languages. I'm like, I speak English.
yeah.
So that's
And
sad. But
yeah, and I think in most places they speak English anyway.
that's that's why we can
Yeah,
rely on it. So it's kind
yeah,
of like it's a crutch, right? Like they always speak English, and we never have to. We always learn the basics when we go to and like any country, like hello, thank you, goodbye. So we can try, but not fluently.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Could you share what inspired you and Caleb to start the Culture Craving Couple platform? I love the
Yes,
CCT.
I'm a huge fan of alliteration. That was definitely a part in it. I just think it's easy to say we're the CCC.
Yeah.
I think it was really just that 2020 trip and just realizing that like there's so much more to life than just like your little bubble, and you don't really
Mm,
know it because you're in your bubble, right? And once you push yourself to experience new things, and like as like a couple, our relationship grew so much more in that time because it's easy to just fall in the mundane of 9 to 5, dinner,
mm,
Netflix, bed. And that's not, it's true. Like, it's just, we're
yeah.
not growing in our lives and in our experiences or as a couple in a relationship when we're just kind of doing that. So, really seeing how that changed our relationship and how that changed our view of the world is something that we just wanted to take to other people and not just in like the same influencer style that everybody does, where we're just taking a pretty snap and telling you where to go and eat and leave, like how to do it as in an authentic way that actually does some good.
Absolutely. So you've written a book. So tell me more about your book, Eat the Cookie, The Imperfectionist Guide to Food, Faith, and Fitness. I love your title because
Thank you.
there's a lot of things in there, food, faith, and fitness, which you probably won't put together or see in a book together.
Yeah, so it's definitely not at all related to travel. Previous to the travel blog, I ran a healthy food website.
Oh.
So I had a pretty large following on there. And the book really talks about overcoming I had anorexia growing up and I almost died.
Mhm.
So it talks
Okay.
about overcoming that.
Mm.
There's the food aspect and body image and how it's a Christian-based book.
Mm-hmm.
How God helped me with that and how I really bridged the gap between using my faith and still being fit because I'm also a personal trainer. I've done a lot of things and using that to kind of overcome those strategies. So really becoming an imperfectionist because I am a perfectionist in all the things I do and kind of letting
Mm.
those things fall to the wayside and how I use my faith and fitness and everything. It's very hard to explain because it is all very different topics, but just I guess letting go is really the main theme of that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll put the links in for anybody. If that book's for you, go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
All the links will be in the show notes. So, yeah, that'd be brilliant. I'm just intrigued by the title.
I know I love the title and the image, but it was
Yeah.
definitely a labor of love. I'm not sure that I'd do it again, but it was a labor of love.
Oh, bless. What is the most important lesson you've learned over your life so far?
I think for me, it's, how do I say this? Like being okay that it's probably not going to look like how you planned. I would never, and I'm a perfectionist, so it's like I'm very much a control freak. I would have never guessed that this is like my life. One, I'm Canadian, so I didn't even think I was ever, I mean, I was to live in Canada, and now I'm American, and I travel the world, and I have this book and this blog, and I just, I think if I would have fallen in the path that I thought it was going to be, like, I went to school, I was going to marry a Canadian boy, or we're going to have, 2.5 kids and a dog, it would be a completely different life. And it's not the life that's for me. Like, it's completely different than I thought it was going to be, and that's okay. And I think letting go of like the expectations and just being like, whatever is meant for me is going to happen for me in whatever way that's going to look like. And it's scary because we all want to control, understanding that the good things, the bad things, they all are going to work out in the end in the best way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that faith, like you say, having faith that it will work out and
Hmm.
there is resources, at force here. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Letting go really is the theme, I think, of our lives that we are all struggle with.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, yeah, trying to keep that hold, let it go and it'll
Let
all
it go.
work out the way it's
It
supposed
will.
to.
Might not be what you think you want, but it's
Yeah,
usually what you need.
yeah,
And that's okay,
absolutely. Yeah.
And that's good. That's a good thing.
So, what resources do you recommend, tools, daily tips to anyone that wants to start traveling, Taylor?
Well, obviously our blog and Instagram is a great resource, but
Absolutely.
also like truly like Facebook groups, like no one's talking about them, but there are so many like groups
Mm.
for specific cities, countries, like whatever, and you can go in there and that's really where you get like the best advice and the most local and the most just authentic stuff. Because I mean, I'm a
Mm,
blogger and I'm guilty of it. We all do the same best 10 things to do in Rome. Like it's just
mm,
what we do. So if you go into these groups and really like try to talk to people and see what the locals do, you're going to get a lot of help. And a lot of times people will share like their itinerary that they did. And like you don't have to plan as much because you have these like genuine people that are just trying to help you. Because sometimes travel bloggers, they're trying to like sell you an affiliate or something like that. Like you can just
mm.
have these genuine humans who just want to help you. So I think that's a really great resource. And also just the city travel pages as well. Like I said, blogs are great. Like I'm not saying don't use blogs because there are some of us that are really helpful, but the actual tourism boards of the places that you're going, they have some really good insight as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And the thing is, I would have never have thought of something like that. And like you say, it's going to be absolutely authentic. And
Yep.
people like helping people.
Yeah, people just want to show off their city, like
Yeah.
especially locals. Like they want you to experience it like them. They don't want you to just
Mm,
do the same 10 things everybody else does. So people are really, really excited to help out.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. So, where can the listeners find you online, your book? What's your website, Taylor?
So our website is culturecravingcouple.com. And then on Instagram, we're also Culture Craving Couple, Facebook, Culture Craving Couple, pretty much anywhere, TikTok, Threads, if you're on Threads, all the things, we're at Culture Craving Couple. And the book can be found on Amazon.
Brilliant. So, if that's for you, go ahead, click on the links. They're all in the show notes.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. So, thank you for sharing your courageous journey and your deep, insightful wisdom and knowledge with us today. And by doing so, I know you have helped so many others. Taylor Kiser.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was great.
My pleasure. So, we are all about Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast here. What is your definition of courage?
So I think courage means to me having the ability to really let fear guide you instead of halt you. Because I feel like so many of us, we feel scared and then it halts us. We don't make another step. We don't. But letting that fear guide you into, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, that cheesy saying. When you're scared, you're usually about to embark or start something that is probably going to be a really cool experience. So let it be your guide and not something that prevents you from making your next step.